Will Robinson here from Robinson's Auto. Welcome back. Today in the shop we have a 97 Chevy Corvette. Problem is that the wipers are inoperative. I hear a noise when I put the wipers to high, so most likely it is the wiper motor. So I'm just going to dig into it. I'll give you a quick demonstration, and once we get in there I'll show you some additional troubleshooting to determine whether you do have a switch going bad and whatnot. Okay, with the key on, I'm going to turn the wipers. There's nothing in any other position, no noises, no nothing, but when I put it into the high position, it makes that noise. So I still got to determine why it's not doing nothing in all the other positions. However, we could do all the troubleshooting from out front. First thing we're going to do is start by removing the windshield wiper arms. You can see there's these little plastic caps. If you get a small pick, you get underneath there like so, just pop them up and out. Do that on both. And if you look right here, you got your windshield washer hose that runs up each arm. So we're going to take it on, hook this one, just pull it straight out off the bar. Same thing with this one. And sometimes if you give them a little twist, you want to try to be really careful not to break that barb fitting on that it's only plastic. I know in some of the instructions they tell you to disconnect the battery at this point. That's a matter of preference. If you want to disconnect it to be on the safe side, go for it. However, I just don't want to lose all the customer's information on the stored radio and whatnot. So 13 millimeter. Now most times, they do sell a puller for these. However, if you pull it up to this position like so, most times if you just rock it, you can get it to come up. Just like so. Now along the outer perimeter towards the engine compartment, you'll see these plastic retaining clips. Just get yourself a pick. Flathead screwdriver will work as well. Pull the centers up, then you can pull them out. Just repeat that process all the way down. Okay, with all the retaining clips removed from the outer perimeter, the front side towards the windshield, that clips in. So let's just lift up on the back. It's only plastic, so you want to be gentle. Usually, just like so. Okay. I'm just going to take and I'm going to flop it. We'll get some covers to put over top of the fender so we don't get anything. The only thing remaining holding this plastic onto the vehicle is the washer hose, but we're just going to leave that attached. Next we're going to take and remove what they call a transmission. It's pretty much what drives the wiper arms. You see you got this one center retainer. It goes to the center of your wiper motor. Now you can get down to the connector and do some troubleshooting right now through this little hole. You can see it down there. However, I'm just going to move some stuff out of my way because I know one thing for certain, that the wiper motor is stripped out. And this is a T30, I believe. Okay. Now, similar to the wiper arms, there's a plastic piece here covering the windshield, protecting it. If there isn't anything there, I'd put something there to protect it, just in case when it pops. Sometimes they come up with some momentum and smack the bottom portion here. So if you want to put something here to protect it, you can. However, just grab it just like you did the windshield wipers, the arms, wiggle it, it should come up and off. Okay, before we go too much further, I'm going to have to take and remove the retaining bolts from the bracket of the transmission. However, you'll see there's 3 T30 retaining screws for the wiper motor, so I'm going to break them loose so everything's not flopping around later. Next I got 3 10mm retainers. You got one here, and one right up here towards the center of the windshield. As far as it appears, the retainers are all the same height. Next, you want to be real careful, but we're going to take and remove what they call the wiper transmission. It's pretty much just the whole mechanism. So simply come up here, tilt it towards the front of the vehicle, and pull it out just like so. Now, as you can see, we're down to the wiper motor, and we have a much better shot at doing some troubleshooting. Okay, gain access to the plug. As you can see right here, you push down and push out at the same time. Give it a little bit of wiggle. There you go. Here's the wiper motor. Okay, so here I got the wiring schematic up. And if you look, I know the fuse is good because you can hear the wiper motor making a commotion out there. However, if you come right here, here's the windshield wiper switch in the on position. And then as you go through, it's like a variable resistor. However, if you take note, whatever position I put it in, even if it's in the low variable, it should be coming down to this green conductor, dark green conductor. So in any position, I should have some kind of voltage going out to this green conductor. And it looks like another power just for the wiper motor board itself. I would assume there's a board inside the wiper motor itself. And this one, oh, it's another variable, 24K. So that's another one that'll have power. Okay, now I have the test light hooked up to ground, and I'm back probing, or front probing I guess you could say, from the connector side of the green conductor. So I'm going to push I got the key on, I'm going to put it down into the mist position. You see we got power. And then we have a low position and a high position. So we're getting power out to the wiper motor. However, the other wiper motor wasn't functioning. And then the only spot that it would make any kind of noise was in the high position. Okay, you never want to just force something that's too large into your connector. And you want to have a good ground connection. And then on these Vettes, since most things are either fiberglass and whatnot, what I found is my test light reached the back of the alternator fairly well, and that's where I found my good ground. And the same thing, that's going to be the same place I hook up the ground side of my multimeter. I'll just hook it right to that same alligator clip. And then on the hot side, I use the probing connector. We'll find the green. Stick it in there like so. I don't know if those numbers are showing up. I'm going to have my camera person watch that as I put it through the positions for you guys. Now I'm in the on position. As you can see, it's saying 1 volt. I'm going to go down to mist. Reading full battery voltage, I'm assuming. Sweet, let me see what else I can do for you. Okay, so the intermediate has a few different, that's where that variable setting comes in. So right now I have it all the way down, and I'm going to turn it 1 click. One more. One more. And then all the way. So that's that variable voltage that's being sent out. It's all the way down. One up. Two up. Three up. And all the way. And back down. Low, high. I'm not sure why I don't see a difference between low and high. There's probably something I'm missing. If you take a look here at the variable switch, the one I was showing you where I was varying the voltages, it all shares, even the high and low shares the same out to that green wire. So the only time you seen the voltage change was when I was going through the variable steps. Once I got to low, it's hooked up to the same exact conductor as high and sending this out. So how does it know the difference between high and low? You got essentially four conductors. You got a yellow one that's controlling this board, and it's pulling the same voltage, the same power supply down to the yellow conductor, so that should be pretty much hot even without the switch in any position. And then you got, oh, your pink wire here. Okay, so that's where it sees the difference, most likely, is your low and your high. There must be some more variable things going on inside that board that's not being illustrated here. Okay, now I got the new wiper motor here. I just want to do a physical comparison. We're using a remanufactured one today. As you can see, it has this little arm on here. We're not going to be using that. We'll be transferring this bracket over to this wiper motor. This is the brand I'll be using. Looks like a 10mm. It goes on in any position. As you can see, it's a tapered type collar, and it has the grooves in it, so you can put it on multiple different ways. So we'll determine that once we get it in the vehicle. These three retainers we know we don't need. This has got this little spacer in there. Is there anything going on down there? Or is that just, looks like it's just part of the housing. We'll just set this on here for now, like so. T20 Torx. And it's just on these aluminum catchers here, but I also want this take that back off. Put that on there like so. Put that on there. There it goes. It's not been straight. Okay, now we're ready to install it back in the vehicle. Before reinstalling the wiper motor, you take a look down here. These are the drains. And this is the biggest problem. You gotta get them cleaned out because this will flood out with water and submerge the wiper motor. Look at these rubbers you can pull out. Just like so. You can see they're like little, I don't know, I'll let you make your own assumptions what that looks like. But just don't get any ideas when you pull them out. Here, I got some lunch for you guys. Oh yeah. Ugh. Stinky finger. Oh, that's terrible. Where have you been? Well, alright, it's one serving. It comes with 3 servings here of Stinky Finger Supreme. Ooh, this one's really wet. Oh, great. This is just so appetizing, huh? All right. You want to make sure you pull them up and out. I'm not sure what would happen if you let go down. Oh God, I should be wearing gloves. Yeah. Yeah. We're just not right, guys. Just not right. It's been a long day, as you can tell. Just gonna wipe this out. Okay. All cleaned out. It's pretty straightforward. You just slide them down into the hole, you know. Alright. You can see through them now. Alright guys, now we could take and plug in our new wiper motor. Like so. Make sure she clips in all the way. And we just simply set it down. Alright, now let's install the transmission. Just be careful, you know. This side goes underneath this bracket. Just like so. And we got another one here. And one more over here. Alright, now we got the 3 retaining bolts for the wiper motor. And you simply get them started in. It's probably worth a mention, you know that metal bracket we put on the top that had that single retainer? Well, this will hold it down the rest of the way. However, there's a tab on here, and that's for the parking mechanism. And I'm going to show you how to adjust this. As you notice, I got it turned and locked in, or it was turned and locked in with this tab. And that's the run position. We're going to have to set this up. I'll step you through the process and how I do it. It may not be 100% right, but it works. Alright, let's tighten up these retaining bolts. Okay. Now before we attach the wiper mechanism transmission assembly, we're going to take and turn the key on and run the wiper motor, make sure everything works, in addition to a couple other steps that I'll step you through. That's on high, low, intermediate, and off. Alright, for this next step I want you to pay attention, so I'm going to put a little flag on this so you can see this wiper motor running. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is go in the vehicle, turn the key on, and put the wiper in an intermittent position. So it's going to cycle, stop, cycle, stop, cycle, stop. When it comes to a stop point, we're going to turn the ignition off. We're going to leave the switch on, intermittent. However, when it comes to a paused position, simply turn the key off. Okay, key on. I still had the wiper switch on, so we're going to start over. Key on. Wiper and intermittent. We'll let it run a couple cycles. As you can see, it's always stopping in the same spot. We're going to let it come to rest and then turn the key off. This is your run position, it's not the park position. Next, what I'm going to do is remove the tape, of course. Okay, now we're going to take and position this in place like so. And what you want to get is almost a straight line. And you'll end up with what I believe to be about a 6mm gap. 8mm gap between this mechanism and that stop. I hope you can see that. I don't want to go any tighter than that. Well, maybe that is the spot right there. You can see one more tooth puts it too far. I believe right there is our spot. And just take note of our gap and how this is pretty much straight across at this point. Now sometimes I set them up differently, guys, and it works, you know. It's just a matter of what you follow, you know. Some instructions tell you to do it one way, another tell you to do it another. So now we're going to put our center bolt in. And we're going to keep the motor from spinning. I'm going to hold that in place. It's very awkward, guys, because I got the camera in a weird position. Okay, it's nice and tight. Now we're going to cycle this and let it run a couple times. And then I'm going to put it in the park position. And I want you to see how that operates. Right now is the moment of truth. I'm going to put the wiper switch to the... I'm going to leave it in the intermittent position, just the way we shut it off. Okay, so everything's working there. We go up to our high position, low, intermittent, and now we're going to go off. And there you go. Another way I've done it in the off position is essentially line this corner almost up with this notch, this little cutout. You could take that mechanism and turn it. But the way I just showed you seems to work, and I've used this on other model GMs as well. What's worth a mention, guys, is you can see this is in relatively good shape. But a lot of times on these GM motors, these tabs, they break off or they get worn or they get rusted. If you have wipers that when you turn them off, they park in a weird position or they don't park at all, it's because of this tab. Okay? And you can come in here and tweak it a little bit and get yourself working again, sometimes without even putting any money or too much effort into it. So, I hope that helps. When I was keeping up with the forum before, I remember this being mentioned. I would like to start that forum back up because there was a lot of good conversations going on, and I found it helpful, you know, not just for you guys but for me. I used to refer back to it, and I've had you guys help me out too. So I'd really love to get that forum back up and running. I just fell so far behind, guys. I do this all on my own, and it's very time consuming. So I apologize. And none of that information was lost. I still have it all. And there you have it. How to calibrate a GM, well, a C5 Corvette wiper transmission. The Robinson's Auto way. I want to check that retaining bolt one more time. screw it up. That's a beautiful thing, huh guys? That's high, low, intermittent, off. Trying to be very careful in the process. Should really have two people on this. There's little tabs down under the windshield. You want to make sure you get them in. This can be a pain sometimes. I guess I could have removed that weather stripping, but I usually don't have to. Probably what I did was just enough extra room where I wouldn't have been fighting with it. That side. Abracadabra. We can install our clips. I want to get them all started before I lock them down. Alright. Alright, I believe intermittent is 4 inches from the stop. However, I'm just going to place them in the, we got them in the park position, so I'm just going to place them where I believe it's good. We're going to find our park position, you know, where you want the wipers to be at when you turn it off. Let's see, right about there, right? Got my towel, pretend I'm on a beach with a Corvette. My finger wet. Install our washer sprayer hose. Feels like a good spot right there. Alright, let's give it a whirl. That's going to wrap this one up, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to try to enjoy this. You know, it's been marinating now since 1997, probably. A lot of this stuff with all kinds of goodness in here. I don't know. And like always, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more, if you haven't done so already. And I look forward to interacting with you guys in the comments. Stay tuned. Hey, Mr. Robinson, won't you please fix my car for me?